Hello, my name is Austin Baker of Baker's Dozen Productions, and I am here today to teach you all about one of the core design philosophies of our company. We have dubbed these the 10 secrets of experience design, or in other words, 10 components that we feel every well-designed experience needs to include. Now, the origins of the 10 secrets of experience design date all the way back to the year 2018, when myself and a few of my peers all were commissioned to create an interactive workshop for a local conference of event planners. Now, when we first were tasked with creating this workshop, we were a little bit intimidated because we were a bunch of academics and students, and we weren't exactly sure what we could bring to the table. But after much deliberation and after much co-creation and many, many hours of meetings and prototypes and drafts of said workshop, we finally came up with what we felt were 10 components that every well-designed experience needed to include in some capacity. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am not saying that all well-designed experiences have to have all 10 of these elements, nor am I saying a bad experience or a poorly designed experience doesn't have many of these elements. However, these 10 secrets or some combination thereof are what I believe and what we at BDP XD believe are essential for creating a well-designed experience. Ever since 2018, even though the workshop came and went and the design team all went their separate ways, something about the 10 secrets really resonated with me on a core level. And so when I went off and I became a teacher in the experience design field, I really wanted to incorporate those 10 secrets into everything I did, whether that be a class, whether that be a project that I was working on, whether that was a scholarly endeavor, another workshop. Everything that I have done professionally in the experience design field has incorporated these 10 secrets. And so when I decided to start my own business, Baker's Dozen Productions, I decided that I needed to bring the 10 secrets along with me. And today, I am going to share all 10 of them with you. Secret number 1. All well-designed experiences factor in the 5 senses in some way, shape, or form. Touch, sound, smell, taste, and visuals. Now, again, you may not have all 5 of them represented at every single second of the experience, but there needs to be some combination of stimuli between those 5 sensory elements to create a memorable and impactful experience. Secret number 2. All good experiences tell a story. Now, this could be as simple as if you use our services, your ROI will increase by 10%. Or it could be as simple as our product is revolutionary and is going to change the game. Or it could be as complex as something like War and Peace or All Quiet on the Western Front or one of those longer pieces of literature. It all depends on what sort of message you are trying to deliver to your audience. One of the best examples of non-traditional storytelling in the XD world that I like to use is the example of a wedding. Now, on a surface level, you may look at a wedding and ask, how is that telling a story? Every single design choice that has gone into that wedding is telling the story of the couple that is getting married in some way, shape, or form. That might be how they met. It might be what their favorite hobbies are together. It might be what they plan to do together as a couple in the future. But everything you see present is telling the story of the subjects of that experience in this case. The third secret of experience design is that all well-designed experiences need to be whimsical and or unexpected. What that means is you need to make sure your design incorporates elements, micro experiences that are one of a kind, that are things that people do not see on a daily basis, things that are going to create unique memories that are then associated with your brand or your event or your IP, things that they are going to talk about with other people, things that they're going to share on social media, things that they can only find when interacting with your experience. Now, notice that I said whimsical or unexpected. The reason I say this is you might be dealing with some experiences that have subject matter that are a bit more somber, maybe are on the darker side, or maybe are intentionally supposed to be scary or make people feel bad or sad or upset. And so the situation doesn't always call for whimsy, but even if you're going for something with a darker, more serious, more somber tone, you still want to incorporate micro experiences that are going to be distinct and unique and unexpected. The absolute worst thing that you can have as a designer is an audience member that can 100% accurately predict what is coming next. Always be unexpected. The fourth secret is that all good experiences are audience-centered. This is the foundational cornerstone of not only experience design, but any design field that you can think of. You are creating something for your audience. There is a wonderful quote by the late, great Walt Disney that essentially says, you don't build it for yourself. You ask the people what they want, and then you build it for them. And I could not agree more. Any well-designed experience needs to be tailoring to your audience's needs, to their wants, to their pain points. It needs to address maybe things that make them uncomfortable, or things they need to learn, or things that they need to understand to get that optimal experience out of what you have created. You build it for your audience. The fifth secret is that all great experiences have to be engaging. Now, what this means is essentially you need to make sure that your audience is actively focused on what you are putting in front of them. You don't want them looking at their phones. You don't want them typing on their computer. You don't want them chit-chatting with their friends or family. You want them focused on whatever topic or content you put in front of them. That could be a speaker standing up in front of a room. That could be animatronic figures that are trying to tell a story on a dark ride. That could be the sporting event that is going on live in front of them. You want them to be there in the moment and engaged with what you, the designer, have put in front of them. Secret number 6, interactive. All well-designed experiences have some sort of interaction. Now, a lot of people hear secret number 6 and say, well, how is that different than secret number 5, engaging? Well, let me assure you, you can have an experience that is engaging without being interactive, and you most certainly can have an experience that is interactive without being engaging. Now, when we're talking about an experience being interactive, all that means is that the experience itself and the audience that is partaking in it interact in some active way. Now, in the case of something like a museum or a theme park, that could actually be physical interactivity, where people are touching things, where they are playing with things, where they are manipulating things in a spatial sense. Or that could be verbal interaction in the case of a living history museum, or in the case of a teacher in a classroom. The big thing is that the audience is actively participating in the experience and not just sitting there watching it. Secret number 7, A well-designed experience needs to be transformative or transformational. What we mean by that is that you do not want your audience to exit an experience in the same state that they entered. That could be emotional transformation, where your audience leaves your experience feeling happier than they were when they entered. In the case of a haunted house, maybe they feel more terrified than they did when they entered. You have transformed them. You've transformed their emotional state via the experience that they just had. Now, transformation can also come intellectually. That could be as simple as teaching your audience a new idea, a new topic, a new perspective that maybe they haven't thought of before. Or that can come via culturally, teaching them about a different culture, giving them perspectives that they didn't have before, helping them to see topics and people and subjects in a new light. Any of those three types of transformation would be acceptable in a well-designed experience. Secret number 8. All well-designed experiences are layered. Now, what that means is that your experience is going to have a big idea or a end goal of some sort, usually connected to the last secret of audience transformation. Maybe that is teaching them a topic. Maybe that is helping them understand your brand better. Maybe that is making them feel a certain way. If you have a layered experience, all that means is that you have multiple channels, multiple pathways for your audience to arrive at that goal. So the benefit of having a layered experience is that it appeals to a wider range of demographics. And with these different paths, with these different layers to the experience, every demographic that you have designed for has a chance to reach that end goal that you set forth in the design process. Layering also means that a person can interact with your experience at whatever level they choose to. If they want to show up and superficially hang out with their friends and enjoy some good food and drink, or check out the pretty colors of the artwork you have on display, that's fine. They have chosen to interact with your experience at a superficial level. However, a well-designed experience is going to have layers where your audience can go deeper if they choose to. Maybe there is background lore about certain topics and characters. Maybe there are hidden secrets and symbols that they have to actually be paying attention to find. Basically, you are rewarding your audience for paying attention and interacting for a longer period of time in a more in-depth way. Secret number 9. Well-designed experiences always evoke emotion. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a positive emotion. It can be. You could try to elicit happiness from your audience, or joy, or stronger connections, or love, or something of that nature. But your experience could also elicit negative emotions from your audience. Think about a haunted house. You want your guests to be afraid, to be terrified, to be utterly shaking with fear after they encounter your interpreters and your actors. Think about a museum that maybe is dealing with a more serious or somber topic. You want your audience to feel sad. Maybe you want them to feel angry and upset. That is okay. The big thing is that you just do not want your experience to feel quote-unquote soulless. And the way you do that is by evoking emotions. Secret number 10. Now, this to me is probably the most important of the lot. All well-designed experiences are authentic. Now, I'll make reference to a TED Talk done by the father of the experience economy, Joe Hine, back in the 2000s. I'll link it in the description of this video as well. But essentially, the gist of it is, if you are not authentic to yourself, if you are not authentic to your brand's values, your organizational's values, and what you say you are trying to deliver to your audience, then you are not going to be authentic, and your guests are going to see right through that, and it negatively impacts the experience. Now, when we talk about authenticity, that can come in two forms. So the first form is authenticity to a historical time period or a person that really existed. So say you are running an experience that is supposed to be fully immersive and based on ancient Rome. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that your costumes are authentic to ancient Rome. You're going to want to make sure that the language that your interpreters are speaking are authentic to ancient Rome. The music, the food, the colors, the designs, the cultural mindsets. That is what I'm talking about when we talk about authenticity in terms of a historical topic. Now, you can also be authentic to your brand, your story, your company's ideals. So take, for example, a family-friendly company that decides one year that it wants to run a R-rated blood and guts haunted house. That's not going to feel very authentic. That's going to feel off-brand, and the traditional audience is going to feel betrayed and that this may not be the best idea. Or take, for example, an organization that is all about healthy living and healthy eating habits that hosts an event that then caters in greasy fast food. That is just going to feel inauthentic. Your guests are going to think, well, something is wrong here, and maybe they are really just in this for money and engagement. So when we talk about authenticity, we are talking about being authentic to the story or the time period, as well as being authentic to your brand and your organization and its values. And there you have it, the 10 secrets of experience design. These 10 components that you should strive to include in any experience that you are creating in any sector, whether that's for-profit, not-for-profit, educational, academia, retail, fast food. You should try to attain these 10 secrets in some way, shape, or form. I'm Austin Baker of Baker's Dozens Productions. You have dozens of stories to tell. Let us help you tell them.